Like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GTV media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Cricket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth on LGBT. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, man. Y'all press 1 if y'all can hear me in the chat, man. Press 1 if you guys can hear me in the chat. I'm sorry to bother you guys at such an inconvenient time for a lot of people. Press 1, man. Unbelievable news just came out, man. Oh, my God, man. Man. First of all, let me start off this video by saying that once again, all parties involved are innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Man, a new lawsuit just dropped. And in this lawsuit that I have on the screen, it is an 82-page lawsuit, you guys, with some of the most damning allegations and other names have been alleged. Now, these people, I'm pretty sure, are going to come out and want to defend themselves and say what they're going to say. But I advise all these people that's involved publicly to get their representation legally before they speak on this. Because when I go through this, I already know what the reaction is going to be. This is going to absolutely break the internet right here. Now, if you guys have not liked or shared this video, do that, man. And again, man, each of these people, man, wow, bro. So in a lawsuit that has just been amended, refiled, as you guys can see right here on the top of your screen, right there. It says Sean R. Perez, ESQ, Nevada bar number 10421, law offices of Sean R. Perez. It gives the address, telephone number, email, or not email, but I think, yeah, email. Also, it says Ariel Mitchell. You guys remember the lawyer, Ariel Mitchell Kid, who was on the news. We seen Ariel Mitchell on News Nation, on many outlets. ESQ. Pro Hack Visa. It seems like she has applied for this lawsuit. It says the law office of Ariel Mitchell, PA. So it looks like it's two legal offices that have teamed up. 500 in Northwest 2nd Avenue, 12864, Miami, Florida. You guys see the address. Y'all see the email. Attorneys for the plaintiff. So these are the two attorneys for the plaintiff. You guys, these are some of the most damning allegations I've been looking at, man, and you guys are not going to believe it, man. Again, I have to say that these people are all innocent. I want to repeat that on my channel. Unless proven guilty in any other situation, I want to repeat that from the beginning because these allegations is fitting to tear up the whole YouTube streets. I'm telling y'all this right now. It's fitting to tear up the whole mainstream media. It's fitting to tear up everything. Ashley Parham, a girl by the name of Ashley Parham, as y'all see on y'all screen, and two Jane Does, a Jane Doe and a John Doe have now sued, as you guys see in an amended complaint, Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Love, Puffy, and Diddy. Christina Coram, we've heard her name a few times come up. Sean Pierce, Ruben Valdez, John Pelletier, Odell Beckham Jr., Drew Desbordes, aka Druski, Jacqueline Wright, aka Jaguar Wright, Helena Harris Scott, Matthias Gonzalez, Brandy Cunningham, Janice Combs, Keith Lux, aka Big Homie .cc, and John and Jane Does 1 through 10 are all the defendants who are being sued. They're named here all in this new lawsuit that just dropped just now and amended, where it names other names outside of Diddy. I can't believe what I'm reading, man. Introduction. This case involves RICO enterprise for the purposes of sexual assault, battery, R-word, sexual abuse, false imprisonment, kidnapping for the personal and financial benefit to the enterprise participants. Number 2, Diddy, defendant Diddy, has been sued by countless individuals for crimes similar to the ones enumerated in this complaint. Number 3, defendant Diddy is currently a federal inmate awaiting criminal trial for crimes similar to the ones enumerated in this complaint. Number 4, defendant KK is an employee of defendant Diddy, often referred to by defendant Diddy as his right-hand woman. Number 5, Diddy's predatory behavior was constant and was well known by several individuals, including defendant Diddy's employees, staff, friends, family, and associates. In fact, defendant Diddy's sons are being sued for engaging in the same type of deviant behavior as their father, as pled in a Los Angeles Superior Court filing. Number 6, defendant Diddy was able to effectuate his crimes and evade capture and prosecution for his crimes for almost 30 years due to his position of power and influence in the entertainment industry. Defendant Diddy exploited his position and his relationships with powerful individuals to force sexual acts through exploitation, fear, manipulation, physical threats, emotional abuse, intimidation, retaliation. Had any of the previous victims of defendant Diddy been taken seriously, or had any of the abettors reported defendant Diddy's actions to law enforcement, defendant Diddy's illegal, and unfathomable behavior could have been prevented. Smash the like button as y'all come on in, man. I can't believe what I'm reading, bro. My heart dropped. But y'all know, man, I gotta speak what's on here, man, and let the people speak their piece. Defendant Diddy's, it says instead, defendant Diddy was able to reign his abuse and terrorism on countless victims for over 30 years. Additionally, had defendant Diddy's numerous business partners and associates not ignored defendant Diddy's deviant behavior, defendant Diddy would have been unable to continue his pattern of abuse over such a long period of time. As alleged herein, defendant Diddy abused his position of power and the entertainment industry to garner loyalty and trust from the public at large, and law enforcement while instilling fear, intimidation in the hearts of its voluminous victims. Allegations against defendant Diddy have been disregarded for decades, therefore creating a failure to protect victims, like the plaintiff named herein. Number 10, unlike most victims, defendant Diddy, who were employees, sex workers, or individuals seeking out defendant to help launch their careers, plaintiff Parham does not fall into any of those categories. Plaintiff Parham met defendant Diddy due to happenstance and still ended up being brutally victimized in a similar manner as described by others who have preceded her filing and others who will surely will follow, including Plaintiff Doe's herein. Number 11, plaintiffs John and Jane Doe met with defendant Diddy through their connections in the music industry, as plaintiff John Doe was a previous plaintiff against Michael Jackson for sexual assault as a blank, a minor. And it gets worse, you guys, the allegations in this lawsuit. Number 12, due to defendant's agreement to participate in a corrupt enterprise, plaintiffs and countless other victims have been immeasurably and permanently harmed. Also, plaintiffs allege, and again, I hope this ain't real, bro. I hope and pray, man. Man, listen, bro. I'm hoping and praying that this is not real right here, bro. I'm hoping and praying this is not real. But I got to keep going, man. Plaintiffs and countless other victims have been immeasurably and permanently harmed. Plaintiffs allege as follows upon personal knowledge as to themselves in their own acts and experience, and as to all other matters, upon information and belief, including investigations conducted by their attorneys, plaintiffs, or parties. And I will drop a link to the formal complaint. After this stream is over with, I will drop the link so you guys can look it up. It's there. I mean, it's in the filings, bro. My bad, y'all. I had to get some juice. You said, when did this drop? About an hour and a half ago. It says, plaintiff Ashley Parham, parties. Plaintiff Ashley Parham is an individual who resides and is domiciled in California. Number 14, plaintiff John Doe is an individual who's domiciled in Nevada and resides in another state purposely to protect his safety and identity. Number 15, plaintiff Jane Doe is an individual who's domiciled in Nevada and resides in another state purposely to protect her safety and identity. Number 16, defendant Sean Diddy Combs is an individual who resides in and is domiciled in California. Defendant also owns a residence in Florida. However, defendant Diddy is currently an inmate at MDC in Brooklyn, New York. Number 17, defendant Christina Coram is an individual upon information and belief resides in and is domiciled in either California or North Carolina. Number 18, defendant Shane Pierce, who is an individual who resides in and is domiciled in California. Number 16, defendant Ruba Lira Valdez is an individual who resides in and is domiciled in California. Number 20, defendant John Lawrence Pelletier is an individual who resides in and is domiciled in Nevada or Hawaii. Number 21, defendant Odell Beckham Jr. is an individual who resides in and is domiciled in Florida, previously referred to as John Doe and the plaintiff Parham's original complaint, meaning, you guys, they're unmasking the John Does in these lawsuits and the Jane Does that they're claiming that they've been suing now. They're naming the names. So people are saying they previously had these people's identities concealed, and now they're unsealing these people's identities now, as far as a lot of these lawsuits. Number 22, defendant Drew Desbordes, defendant known as Druski, is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides in and is domiciled in either Maryland or Georgia, previously referred to as John Doe and plaintiff Parham's original complaint. Number 23, man. Defendant Jacqueline Wright, defendant Jaguar, is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides in and is domiciled in California or Nevada. Number 24, defendant Helena Harris Scott, known as Helena, is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides in and is domiciled in California. Defendant Matthias Gonzalez, defendant Gonzalez, is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides in and is domiciled in Nevada. Number 26, defendant Brandy Clolinger Cunningham, defendant Brandy, is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides in and is domiciled in Arkansas, previously referred to as Jane Doe and plaintiff Parham's original complaint. Defendant Janice Combs, defendant Janice, is an individual who resides in and is domiciled in Florida. Number 28, defendant Keith Lux, defendant known as Big Homie .cc, is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides and is domiciled in Nevada. Number 29, defendant John and Jane Does 1 through 10. It's still a whole lot of other people they say they have not named, is what this lawsuit is saying, are individuals who, upon information and belief, reside in, are domiciled in various states, but mainly California. Let's keep going. Jurisdiction, venue, timeless, and California's Sexual Abuse Cover-Up Accountability Act. I'm going to skip through this part because I'm going to get to where the accusations against these people, man. It says number 34, this action is timely under the Federal Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization RICO Act. 18 U.S.C. 1961 as the Diddy sexual abuse and the cover-up enterprise fraudulently concealed the ongoing sexual and deceitful activities, torts, and conspiracy taking place within the Diddy sexual abuse and cover-up and enterprise. It says this action is also timely under California's Sexual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act, California Sexual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act, AB 2777, amended California Civil Procedure Section 340.16, extending the statute of limitations upon revival windows for adult survivors of sexual assault and related claims, and acknowledging that a 2-year statute of limitations simply does not provide sexual assault survivors adequate time to heal from physical and emotional trauma of sexual assault and prepare for a civil case. Now, let's get right to the funk. So y'all have heard who they're saying the plaintiffs are. Now let's get to this. It says defendants, fraudulent concealment through active attempts to cover up caused the ongoing trauma of the plaintiffs to suffer. Plaintiff Parham had repressed her experience until recently when defendant Diddy was accused by his ex-girlfriend, former employee Cassie Ventura, and others regarding their experiences with defendant Diddy. Assessing the civil justice system allows victims, survivors, an opportunity to seek accountability for the years of suffering caused by the abuse they experienced and a chance to take back the power they lost as a result of the sexual assault. Plaintiffs John and Jane Doe have been paralyzed in fear, have had to change their names, and frequently move from their residences for fear of being re-kidnapped, R-worded, abused, and assaulted by defendants herein. Plaintiff Doe's hereby invoke, basically what they're saying is they're going under private name, like a Jane Doe, John Doe, to protect their lives from the long reach of the Diddy sexual abuse and cover up and enterprise. Number 37, additionally, any statute of limitations applicable to the below claims, if any, is told as defendants or is stopped from raising such a defense as their actions described below deprive the plaintiff the opportunity to commence this lawsuit now, before, as well as equitable and legal basis. Factual allegations common to all counts, Plaintiff Parham. It gets worse, y'all. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in, share, and subscribe, man. Again, I repeat this as we go in here, man. All the people that I'm about to name in this lawsuit are innocent, unless proven guilty, man. My heart broke when I read this paperwork, man. My heart broke, man. But y'all know I got to read it, man. So let's get to it. Number 38. Plaintiff met defendant Shane in February 2018 after an altercation with another man at a bar, and defendant Shane came to the plaintiff's rescue. Number 39, while outside the bar with friends and other patrons, defendant Shane FaceTime video called defendant Diddy and was showing people defendant Diddy in the video on his phone, attempting to impress the people with his famous friend. Defendant Shane then showed plaintiff defendant Diddy on his video call, which the plaintiff ignored, stating she was not impressed by him, knowing defendant Diddy because she believes defendant Diddy has something to do with the murder of the rapper Tupac Shakur. Now, y'all remember this now. There was a woman. That woman had came out, made a lawsuit. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the same woman who claims that Diddy R-worded her and violated her with a remote control. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the same person we're going to see right now. Number 41, visible in the FaceTime call was defendant Diddy and some of his children, including his sons, Christian and Quincy. It appeared from the plaintiff's perspective that defendant Diddy was having a quote-unquote get-together at his home during the time of the FaceTime call, with defendant Shane. Number 42, defendant Diddy heard the plaintiff's statement and made a remark that the plaintiff would pay for her statement regarding Tupac, and overall dismissal of defendant Diddy. Number 43, on March the 23rd, 2018, defendant Shane invited the plaintiff over to his home to assist him with his cancer medications because he stated he was weak and unable to open his medications. Number 44, upon the plaintiff's arrival, defendant Shane informed the plaintiff that he wanted to give her a ride in his new car. Plaintiff and defendant Shane left his residence for a brief period and then returned. Number 45, once they returned, defendant Shane left the door to his apartment partially open and stated that the door was ajar because there was an issue with the door where it couldn't close completely. Number 46, defendant Shane was renting an apartment on the lower floor of a home in Orinda, California. Number 47, defendant Shane had a separate entrance into his residence that led to the backyard of the home. The home also had a main entrance on Loma Vista Drive. Number 48, defendant Shane rented the home from a woman who lived in the upstairs portion of the home and had 2 dogs who resided with her. Number 49, plaintiff and defendant Shane then began to watch a movie, and defendant Shane offered her a glass of water, which she retrieved and brought back to the plaintiff. Number 50, approximately 10 minutes after the plaintiff and defendant Shane returned from their drive, defendant Diddy entered defendant Shane's residence. Number 51, defendant Diddy entered the home in a grand, ready-to-party manner. His grandiose entrance was loud that the dogs upstairs began barking. Number 52, defendant Diddy did not enter the home through the backyard entrance, but instead through the main entrance. Number 53, along with defendant Diddy. Oh, Jesus, man. Oh, Jesus, man. Oh, Jesus. Along with defendant Diddy were his bodyguards, defendant Big Homie .cc, defendant KK, defendant Brandy, defendant Doe number 2, who upon information and belief is a friend of defendant Shane and Diddy, and defendant Diddy's driver, Doe 3, who remained outside and in his vehicle during the duration of the plaintiff's assault. Number 54, plaintiff believes defendant Shane invited her over to set her up to be assaulted by defendant Diddy because of the statement she made about defendant Diddy a month prior. Number 55, upon defendant Diddy's arrival, he immediately began to antagonize the plaintiff, stating she thought she would never see him in person, pay for her statements about Tupac during the video call that defendant Diddy caught the plaintiff. Plaintiff was in shock as she never believed that she would ever see or meet defendant Diddy in real life, let alone in a small apartment rented by defendant Shane. Hold on, y'all. Hey, Bree, shut the noise up, man. Shut it up. Go ahead, goddamn barker, man. Shut the noise out, dog. What the noise about? Hey, Killer, you sit down too. Sit. My bad, y'all. Them two going back and forth. My bad. Let me get back to this. It says number 56. Plaintiff was in shock as she never believed that she would ever see or meet defendant Diddy in real life, y'all, let alone in a small apartment rented by defendant Shane. Number 57, defendant Diddy then began advancing towards where the plaintiff was sitting on defendant Shane's bed with a knife and held it to the right side of the plaintiff's face and threatened to give her a Glasgow smile in retaliation for previous statements on a video call. 58, defendant KK told defendant Diddy that she did not think giving plaintiff a Glasgow smile would be advantage just to their potential clients who they could sell the plaintiff for sex to. It goes on. It goes on, man. It says, number 59, defendant KK then made a threat to plaintiff that they could ship her off anywhere in the world and that she would never see her family or anyone she knew ever again. Number 60, defendant Shane then partially undressed plaintiff, and then defendant Diddy removed the remainder of plaintiff's clothes, removing the knife from her face, and then retrieved a bottle of liquid from a large fanny pack. Number 61, defendant Diddy then squirted a bottle of liquid on the plaintiff, which placed her in fear that she was being squirted with a chemical substance like acid. Plaintiff soon realized the substance was an oil lubricant. Plaintiff was squirted with this liquid substance over the entirety of her naked body. Number 62, defendant KK was then told by defendant Diddy to insert what looked like a syringe from a sterile packaging into the plaintiff's vagina. Number 63, defendant KK did as told while assisted by defendant Brandy, and then told defendant Diddy they were unable to use the IUD because it had prematurely been released from its packaging. Number 64, defendant Diddy, upset by this, took the syringe from defendant KK and tried inserting it in the plaintiff's area as well. Instead, it said that defendant KK and Diddy began to argue as defendant KK continued to advise defendant Diddy that since the IUD had been prematurely released from its packaging, there's no way they could insert it into her area effectively. After some time, defendant Diddy heeded the advice of defendant KK and removed the syringe from the plaintiff's area and handed it to defendant KK. Defendants KK and defendant Brandy then exited defendant Shane's residence, leaving plaintiff alone with defendant Diddy's, Shane, and the John Does who have been named herein. 67, defendant Diddy then picked up a television remote that was near plaintiff and violently inserted it into this person's area. Number 68, defendant Diddy, while violently R-wording the plaintiff with a television remote, told the plaintiff that her life was in his hands and that if he wanted, he could take her and she would never be seen again. Plaintiff began hysterically crying from threats of defendant Diddy, along with the pain of being violently R-worded by defendant Diddy with a television remote, as well as lingering pain from the ordeal with the IUD syringe insertion. Defendant Diddy then instructed defendant Shane to turn the plaintiff on her stomach, seemingly tired of hearing the plaintiff's cries. Defendant Shane then grabbed the plaintiff by her abs and hips and turned the plaintiff on her stomach. Defendant Diddy instructed defendant Shane to put a pillow over her head because he didn't want to see her face or hear her cries, and instructed defendant Shane to anally blank her. Number 72, defendant Shane did as he was told by defendant Diddy and began to blank her from behind. Defendant Diddy then violently blanked the plaintiff from behind after defendant Shane. Defendant Doe 2 then joined defendant Diddy and Shane, taking a turn from behind, blanking the plaintiff. Immediately after defendant 2 blanked the plaintiff, he exited defendant Shane's residence. Number 76. Oh my God, bro. Defendant Diddy then instructed another defendant Doe to also R-word the plaintiff. Defendant Doe has been determined to be defendant Druski. Again, all these names I'm naming, all these people are innocent unless it's otherwise proven in some court of law. We over here, if it's in the paperwork, we're gonna speak about it. But these people have a right to have their argument as well, with their names being put in this situation. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna do that. I would advise every one of them to get legal counsel. You understand? Because these allegations that's in this thing is serious, and it's gonna get worse as this thing goes along. And so, as I said before, man, you know, you gotta offer that to everyone when you're reading these type of allegations, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this is unbelievable, bro. Let's go on. It says, instead of immediately R-wording the plaintiff, defendant Druski doused the plaintiff with more oil, lubricant, and then jumped on top of the plaintiff, naked, oiled body, treating it like a slip and slide, and knocking the wind out of the plaintiff due to his enormous size. Number 78. Defendant Druski then caught himself from sliding over the plaintiff's oil body and off the bed. He then began R-wording the plaintiff in her area. Number 79. While defendant Druski was R-wording the plaintiff, defendant Diddy sat in a chair near his bed and began pleasuring himself, choking his chicken, while recording the plaintiff's violation, R-word, by defendant Druski. So they're saying that Diddy recorded this. They're saying that Diddy recorded this. Another party's phone fell on the bed near the plaintiff. The plaintiff then attempted to grab the phone, but it slipped out her hands and on the floor due to the oil and lubricant that had been doused all over her person by defendants Diddy and Druski. It says defendant Diddy had been laughing at the plaintiff's attempt to grab the phone. Throughout this violent GR, defendant Diddy made constant belittling remarks to the plaintiff, including that he owned her now. I should say Druski, my bad. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Druski, my bad. Druski, okay, my bad. At some point during this ordeal, plaintiffs remembered defendants referring to another defendant Doe as Cornelius and remembered the name because it was so odd and unique. Plaintiff has come to discover that defendant Doe Cornelius, who R-worded her, is defendant Odell. Again, I have to say, these people who are being named are innocent unless otherwise proved guilty in some court of law, man. But it's in the paperwork, and this is the reason why we are speaking on it, because it's in this paperwork right here, man. Number 84, plaintiff's body was becoming more and more limp over the course of the violent R-word until she eventually had no control over her body, nor could she move her body. Number 85, when defendant Druski finished R-wording the plaintiff, defendant KK entered the room to examine the condition of the plaintiff, who was barely able to move or control her bodily functions. Defendant KK examined the plaintiff to see if she needed assistance and was about to give plaintiff IV fluid. The plaintiff cannot be certain is she did or did not receive such intervention. Defendant KK then opened a different bag, different than the one Diddy removed from the oil from, where the plaintiff observed several medicine bottles, IV fluid bags, and other identifiable powder-like substances. Defendant KK then removed a pill from one of the medicine bottles and gave it to defendant Diddy. Number 87. Defendant Diddy then inserted the pill into the plaintiff's mouth and down her throat, where the plaintiff had no choice but to ingest the unknown pill. Number 88. Defendant Diddy, Shane, KK, Odell, and Druski then exited the residence to the backyard, where they all smoked marijuana and cigarettes. Number 89, the plaintiff remained in almost lifeless state in defendant Shane's bedroom until she finally regained her bodily functions. Number 90, plaintiff then began looking for her clothes and her purse that contained her car keys and cell phone, but could not discover them in the room or anywhere in the apartment. Plaintiff was only able to find a t-shirt on the floor, which she put on to cover her naked body. The plaintiff also observed a black condom wrapper on the floor of the bedroom, which she assumed was used by one of the defendants, most likely Diddy, during the R word. Plaintiff then found a knife with the assistance of those plaintiffs and headed to the backyard where defendants were smoking, as that was the only way to exit the premises onto the street. The plaintiff concealed the knife on the left side as she exited the apartment in the backyard area. Upon coming to the exit of the home, led to the backyard, plaintiff was met by defendant Big Homie CC, who was standing at the door between the residence and the backyard. By the time the plaintiff was able to compose herself and come to the backyard, defendant KK was no longer in the backyard, but upstairs on the patio balcony with defendant Brandy. Defendant Doe allowed plaintiff to walk to the backyard where defendants were still smoking. Number 96, defendant Doe did not see the knife that the plaintiff concealed on her left side as it was instructed by the oversized t-shirt the plaintiff was wearing. Plaintiff observed defendant Diddy still partially nude from the assault, while the other defendants had on their clothing. Number 98, defendant Shane then left to the upstairs portion of the patio balcony where defendants KK and Brandy were already situated. Number 99, plaintiff then sat down on a makeshift seat in the backyard when defendant Diddy noticed her presence and remarked that he was surprised she was able to walk because he had given her enough blanks to take out a horse. Plaintiff then asked defendant Diddy what he gave her, and he laughed and did not provide a response. Defendant Diddy then made further comments to the plaintiff in a jovial, friendly manner, asking her why they hadn't partied together before, because it was so much fun and that he hadn't had any ass that tight in a while. Defendant Big Homie CC then quipped at defendant Diddy that he probably hadn't had any ass that tight because he's not used to having anal with women, which defendant Diddy and Doe laughed at. Plaintiff then told defendant Diddy she did not want to party with him and she did not enjoy partying with him, and that he R-worded her. 104. Defendant Diddy did not like the plaintiff's response to his lighthearted commentary and offered the plaintiff money and instructed the plaintiff to say that the violent R-word was consensual and that the plaintiff was a sex worker. 105. The plaintiff became enraged and yelled at defendant Diddy that her R word was not consensual, she was not a sex worker, and she refused to take the money away from him and would tell the police that he had R worded her. 106. Defendant Diddy then told the plaintiff no one would ever believe that she had been R worded by him. And if she did tell anyone such, that they would harm her family. 107. Defendant Big Homie CC then showed the plaintiff his phone, which looked as if it was outside of the plaintiff's estranged sister's residence, as she could see her sister sitting on the couch and her sister's spouse on the balcony. It looked as if someone was outside the residence streaming this video to defendant Big Homie CC's phone. Again, these are all allegations. You understand what I'm saying? All the people that's being named are innocent unless proven guilty in the court of law, and that they're going to have an opportunity to speak on their own behalf on these allegations that have been put out here against them. I want to make that clear as I read these allegations. All I'm doing is reading what these people are trying to put in the paperwork, or not trying to put in the paperwork, period. I want to make that clear again. You understand what I'm saying? So you make your own decision. You know what I mean? And so, again, this lawsuit is being done by a guy named Sean Perez, and Ariel Mitchell Kidd is this lady's representative. It's supposed to be that lady who named herself and two other people who are John Does, and John Doe and a Jane Doe, who have been unnamed, who are making these allegations. And again, we're not even halfway through this yet. It says defendant Diddy then called defendant Janice, meaning his mother, in an effort to hold on one second, you guys. Hold on one second. Did I lose my page right here? Hold on. Let me catch up. I think I went down my page a little too far, you guys. My bad. Let me catch up. My bad. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay. So it says the defendant Diddy then called defendant Janice in an effort to further convince the plaintiff to not report her assault. Defendant Janice yelled at the plaintiff to not hurt her son. Plaintiff told defendant Janice that her son had violently R-worded her. Defendant Janice, seemingly unfazed by the statement, then continued her demands with the plaintiff to take the money being offered and not report the R-word to law enforcement. 110, defendant Diddy then made further threats that he had gotten off from bigger crimes than this and referred to Tupac again, further antagonizing the plaintiff. Number 111, defendant Big Homie CC then turned to defendant Diddy and pulled his blicky on him, asking him to repeat what he said in reference to Tupac. Damn. Y'all know me. I like Big Homie. They said Big Homie pulled she's accused. She say Big Homie pulled the blicky on Diddy. Read that again right there. It says defendant Big Homie CC then turned to defendant Diddy and pulled his blicky on him and asked him to repeat what he said in reference to Tupac. As the two of them were exchanging words, the plaintiff went behind defendant Big Homie CC, where he seemingly began to protect this woman. 113, it said defendant Big Homie CC then advanced to defendant Diddy, questioning him over the comments he made about Tupac Shakur. It goes on. During this, hold on, y'all. You.
What's up, Bob?
Okay. Hey, hold on. Hold on, y'all. I got big homie on live right now. Hey, I'm on live, dog.
Yeah, bro. Motherfuckers sending me your live, bro. Like, I don't know where you got that paperwork from, bro, but that shit is some bullshit.
Bro, listen. Hey, I'm gonna send you the hit me with your email. I'm just gonna send you the link.
Send me the link.
This girl don't admit this complaint and try to name you guys in this, man.
I'm finna send my email. If you want me to come on that stream, you gotta send a couple hundred. I'll come on there, bro.
All right, just send me your email. I'm gonna forward you the information, dog.
All right, bet.
All right, homie. All right, you guys. Hold on one second. You guys. Hold on one second. Hold on. Big homie said he ain't going for this. Hold on. Let me hold on one second, you guys. We ain't going nowhere. Let me send him this. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. Hold on one second, y'all. What the fuck? All right, hold on. I think I got it right here. Hold on one second, you guys. Let me see if I can send it right here. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if this is it. Okay, yeah. All right. All right. So let's get back to this, right? Hold on. All right. So let's keep going. All right. So now it says during this commotion, a neighbor directly across the street came outside and peered in the backyard and asked what the commotion was all about. It says the defendant, Big Homie CC, then pointed the blicky at the neighbor and instructed him to mind his business and return to his residence. It goes on to say defendant Big Homie CC then turned the blicky back on Diddy. The plaintiff, not far behind Big Homie, tried to grab defendant Big Homie CC's hand that had the blicky. It went off and hit a hill behind defendant Shane's residence. Defendant Diddy then ran up the back stone stairs near the hill in the backyard towards where defendants KK, Shane, and Brandy were. Plaintiff charged towards defendant Diddy, moving the concealed knife from her hand to her right hand in pursuit of defendant Diddy. Plaintiff then pushed defendant Diddy from behind while on the stone stairs outside, causing him to fall with his back to the plaintiff. Plaintiff then raised the knife in a rage from the events that just transpired and with the intent of driving it into Diddy's back when he turned around and began pleading for his life. 119, plaintiff shocked now to see defendant Diddy acting as a victim, had a moment of clarity, and then turned and ran down the outdoor stone staircase back out to the backyard to escape. Defendant Diddy then chased the plaintiff down the stairs and attempted to push her, but she was already at the bottom of the stairs and gained her footing and welded the knife at defendant Diddy, grazing his abdomen. Hearing the commotion, defendants KK and Brandy emerged, and defendant KK then began administering first aid to defendant Diddy for the injuries caused by the plaintiff. Plaintiff tried to make a quick dash for the exit but was thwarted by another defendant, Doe. After a period of time, the plaintiff was able to abscond from defendant Doe due to the first aid commotion with defendant Diddy and was able to run down the street. Once the plaintiff made it on the street, she began yelling loudly for someone to call the police. Defendant Doe, who had now caught up with the plaintiff, advised plaintiff that he was an undercover. To this day, the plaintiff is unsure of the truth or falsity of that statement. The same neighbor then again emerged from his residence asking what was transpiring. Just as plaintiff was attempting to answer, shots began firing in the plaintiff's direction. The plaintiff fled to the car where the neighbor was also taking cover and lost sight of defendant Doe. Plaintiff then heard an SUV screeching and speeding, leaving the residence. Plaintiff then entered the home of the neighbor, who informed her that he had already called the police. Plaintiff informed the neighbor that it was Sean Combs who had R-worded her and shot at them, but the neighbor was unaware who defendant Diddy was. Shortly thereafter, a sheriff from the Contra Costa Sheriff's Department arrived at the neighbor's home. Plaintiff identified the person who arrived at the neighbor's home posing as a Contra Costa sheriff was defendant Pelletier. Plaintiff told defendant Pelletier, believing he was a sheriff from the local police, that she had been violently G-raped by Diddy and others, and that she did not have her clothes, phone, purse, car keys, or cell phone. Defendant Pelletier, falsely posing as a Contra Costa sheriff, told the plaintiff and the neighbor that they had received several noise complaints prior to the neighbor's call and instructed the plaintiff to find a way to get home. The quote-unquote sheriff, defendant Pelletier, did not offer to take the plaintiff home, nor did he call emergency services, including an ambulance, nor any offer to take her to the hospital, nor any offer to help the plaintiff recover her clothes or effects from defendant Shane's residence. The Contra Costa sheriffs have confirmed that a police report was made that night by plaintiff parent. The Contra Costa sheriffs have refused to release any information related to the complaint on the night in question to any source, despite numerous attempts made via Freedom Information Act. Plaintiff observed defendant Pelletier hand something to the neighbor, what looked to be an envelope, at the door as defendant Pelletier exited. The neighbor went to a nearby room and quickly returned empty-handed. Plaintiff believes the envelope contained cash. The neighbor offered to let plaintiff sleep on his couch until she could figure out a way to get her possessions and get home. But plaintiff declined. Uneasy and unsure about the exchange with police, and the neighbor and police only remained at the neighbor's residence for a short period of time once defendant Pelletier, posing as the Contra Costa law enforcement, left. Plaintiff then went back to defendant Shane's residence, where she found the door open and her clothes were readily accessible in his residence. Defendant Shane then emerged as if nothing had transpired and offered the plaintiff to stay at the residence while she slept it off. Plaintiff asked for her purse and her keys, but defendant Shane told her she couldn't leave in her condition, and the plaintiff, in a catatonic and in a state of shock and disbelief of the events that transpired, stayed at his home while he left the home. Later that morning, defendant Shane returned to the residence, woke her up, and finally gave her back her purse, cell phone, and keys, and the plaintiff left his residence. In a daze, the plaintiff returned home and tried to make sense out of what happened. On March 26, 2018, the plaintiff contacted her primary care doctor and asked for a blank in an STD test in fear of possibly having contracted a disease from her violent R word. The plaintiff tried to continue her life as she felt she wouldn't be believed, as plaintiff had already told her what she believed to be the Contra Costa Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's defendant Diddy R-worded her, but to no avail. Further, the plaintiff was under the impression if she did continue to say defendant Diddy's name in relation to her assault, she would not be believed and her family would be in danger. It says, seemingly mere days, maybe even the day after or before plaintiff's vicious R word, defendant Shane had miraculously begun driving a new car. Plaintiff believes this was a payment by Diddy for setting up the plaintiff to be R word. It says plaintiff went to the hospital where the hospital conducted several tests on the plaintiff, including an R word kit, ultrasound, and x-rays. It says additionally, plaintiff was given IV fluids to stabilize her vitals as she was in severe weakened state from being unable to eat and losing substantial amount of weight since the R word occurred. It says while at the hospital, the plaintiff told members of the treatment team about her horrific assault, and they went and they then contacted the Walnut Creek police. The Walnut Creek police showed up to the plaintiff's hospital room and took a statement regarding her assault. Plaintiff only told the Walnut Creek police about the assault from defendant Shane and Doe. Plaintiff believes her statements made to the Walnut Creek police while at the hospital was captured by the police body camera footage. All right. It says plaintiff further believes her statements made on March 23rd, immediately after the vicious assault, where plaintiff named defendant Diddy directly and by name may be captured on body cam footage. But upon determining the sheriff was defendant, Pelleter does not believe it was captured as he was a co-conspirator. Plaintiff filed a report to the Orinda Police Department on April the 17th, 2018, but was too afraid to name defendant Diddy as one of her assailants. During this report, plaintiff provided her clothing to the police from the night of the assault, but they only retained her underwear. To date, the underwear was never returned, and the plaintiff believes no investigation ever commenced. Plaintiff sought assistance from therapists on May 2018, one of which tried to give her therapy appointments covered. Therapy appointments covered by a victim's compensation fund, which was rejected because plaintiff was told no law enforcement agency had opened an active investigation into any of her many reports of her violent gang R word, right? Subsequently thereafter, the plaintiff asked the police for a copy of her report from the Walnut Creek Police Department. On July the 19th, 2018, the plaintiff was provided a letter from the Walnut Creek Police Department stating that it was unable to furnish the information as it is confidential and not subject to public release, despite the plaintiff not being the public and the victim complaint. Okay, now let's scroll down. I want to skip through some of this, you guys, because I want to get to the other parts where it's saying, you know, now it says the plaintiffs John and Jane Doe. So it's saying the other people that's making the allegations in this lawsuit, right? It says plaintiff John and Jane Doe's are a mother and a son. So they're saying that the other people that's suing them is somebody's mom and somebody's son. Now, again, y'all got to make this, you know what I'm saying? You got to, like I said before, you got to make your own decision on what you want to believe. You know what I mean? It says, hold on, let me see. It says, the plaintiffs were taken to the Los Angeles residence by defendant Pelleter as they walked to their vehicle. Defendant Pelleter put a gun to plaintiff John Doe's back and instructed him to get into a black SUV regarding extraditing plaintiffs for warrants to California. Plaintiffs did not have any warrants nor convictions. Plaintiff demanded to be shown the warrants, and the defendant Pelleter refused and threatened to shoot the plaintiffs as they further protest. In the back of the black SUV was defendant Valdez. Defendant known to plaintiffs at this time, defendant was dressed in dark clothes and instructed the plaintiffs not to look at him. The plaintiffs were transported to what they believed to be defendant Pelleter's residence at Blank Bay, St. Las Vegas. right? Let's keep going on, man. Let's keep going on. Because I know what y'all want. I know what y'all trying to hear, man. This thing is 87 pages, bro. This is crazy, man. This thing, 87 pages, man. Let me see. Hold on, you guys. Hold on one second, you guys. Let me scroll down. Right. Scroll down. Man, it's talking all kind of crazy allegations in this thing, man. It's saying these people were, it said the defendants Valdez and Gonzalez instructed the plaintiff to sign paperwork at gunpoint. When the plaintiffs refused, defendant Gonzalez would pistol whip plaintiffs on the back of their heads. Man, damn. Oh, man, here we go, y'all. So now this is where, and again, I'm going to say this again. You guys, y'all have to, because I'm just saying this. You guys have to make your own determinations on how y'all feel about this. But this is in what this person is putting in their paperwork. So this is one part of the story. So we got to see how this thing plays out. But we're going to say it because that's what we do. We got to keep it 100. See what I'm saying? And this is not me saying this. Let me say this again. I want to put this out here to the public so y'all can see. So it says defendant Gonzalez eventually gave the plaintiffs a drink, which caused them to pass out. Plaintiffs spent the night at the hotel with defendants Gonzalez and Valdez, taking turns watching them. The next morning, plaintiffs were restrained and bound by their hands in front and were placed into a vehicle. Plaintiffs then saw defendants Jaguar and Helena. Upon information and belief, defendants Jaguar and Helena were in a small sedan, light color, white or beige. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if they brought Jag's name up before and I passed it. No, I don't think they brought a name up. Okay, they just now mentioning it right there. Okay. So now they try to put Jaguar in this thing. Let me get back to where I was, you guys. There it goes right there. So it says, upon information and belief, defendants Jaguar and Helena were in a small sedan, light color, white or beige. It says that the plaintiffs were then transported to the location of the plaintiff Parham's brutal assault on Loma Vista Drive by defendants Jaguar and Helena. Defendant Helena was the driver. Defendant Jaguar was the passenger. Defendant Helena warned the plaintiffs that they tried to escape or run, that she would have to shoot you. Defendant Helena also warned the plaintiffs not to throw up her vehicle, saying, "You better not throw up in my car or get sick." Defendant Helena mentioned having two partners as backup who were bounty hunters. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena as she had filed a lawsuit against superstar singer Michael Jackson in 2005 and filed a creditor's claim against Jackson's estate upon his untimely demise in 2009. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena from her previous Michael Jackson lawsuits and had previously met with defendant in her home in West Hollywood to determine the credibility of her claims and if they were similar in nature to plaintiffs. Since plaintiffs had reported defendant Helena multiple times to the LA and OC FBI field offices for her role in the crime syndicate with defendants Pelletier, Valdez, and other individuals. It says plaintiffs attempted to make conversation with defendant Helena in which she admitted she was the same person who plaintiffs had met with previously. Defendant Jaguar Aggravated stated, "You let them know who you are?" Question mark. That's really great. Plaintiffs noticed that the defendants had large brown bags and manila envelopes full of cash that was banded. It appeared they were separating the large sums of cash to distribute as they were placing cash into manila envelopes. Defendant Jaguar discussed with defendant Helena how the parties started the first black-owned network. Upon information and belief, plaintiffs believe the network to be Revolt TV. Defendant Jaguar and defendant Helena discussed the other co-conspirators but referred to them by their names as Natasha, defendant KK, Pedro, defendant Gonzalez, Lyra, defendant Valdez, Cornelius, defendant Odell, and Larry, shortened for Lawrence, defendant Pelleter. When defendant Jaguar and Cornelius, when defendant Jaguar said Cornelius, it upset defendant Helena, who said that defendants Odell and Druski were her clients, and nothing better happened to them. And plaintiffs better not say anything about them, or she would have the plaintiffs unalived. It says defendant Jaguar told the plaintiffs they were being taken to meet John. Plaintiffs now know she was referring to defendant Diddy. It says when defendants arrived with the plaintiffs at the Loma Vista location, it appeared as they were waiting and coordinating others to arrive. A large sedan arrived and the plaintiffs were placed in the back with defendant Valdez. Defendant Pelleter was driving. It goes on to say that the plaintiffs then arrived in a short driveway or curb. The plaintiffs looking for an intersection street sign at the location found blank, a dead-end street off of Loma Vista Drive. Plaintiff John Doe repeated the name of the street to himself so he remembered and was unable to whisper into Jane Doe's ear to remember the intersecting street name blank. Plaintiff believed that this was the home that they would be unalived in and tried to devise a plan for escape. It says the plaintiffs were brought into the house, into a kitchen where they were watched by defendant Gonzalez. The plaintiffs repeated their pleas to defendant Gonzalez to be released and for mercy, when she replied, "There's nothing he can do." Plaintiffs could hear other people inside the home and tried to listen to understand what was happening, and which included a woman's scream. Eventually, the plaintiffs were led deeper into the home where they were encountered more individuals, including defendant Diddy. 227. It says that the plaintiffs observed several individuals gathered around a bed while defendants Gonzalez and Valdez stood outer guard. Plaintiffs observed defendants Jaguar and Helena enter the residence. Defendant Jaguar told the plaintiffs, "He wants something you have. If I were you, I'd figure out what it is really fast." The he defendant was referring to is believed to be defendant Diddy. It says shortly after, defendant Druski appeared wearing a vest and shorts and engaged in conversation with plaintiffs. Plaintiffs tried to appeal the defendant by talking about the music industry, and the defendant instructed the plaintiffs that they should cooperate. It said the plaintiffs described what they observed during the assault of plaintiff Parham after this interaction with defendant Druski. It says plaintiffs observed plaintiff Parham having an IUD forcefully placed in her kitty by defendants KK with the assistance of defendant Brandy. Plaintiffs heard defendant KK make a remark about how plaintiff Jane Doe would not need an IUD because of her age. It says, while hearing plaintiff Parham scream in agony during the forced IUD insertion, plaintiff Jane Doe yelled, "Stop hurting her." Plaintiffs observed defendant Shane place a pillow over plaintiff Parham's face, suffocating her, and plaintiff Jane Doe yelled for them to stop or she would die. Plaintiff Jane Doe believes Plaintiff Parham did lose consciousness because she became limp and unresponsive. It says that defendant Diddy instructed defendant Valdez to shut her up, and defendant Valdez hit Plaintiff Jane Doe with a handle of his firearm. Plaintiff John Doe witnessed Plaintiff Parham being assaulted by the remote, and when he tried to say something to the plaintiff, was told to shut up or they would get the remote put in him next. Plaintiff John Doe believes he heard defendant Jaguar make remarks, put that remote in her, she gonna learn today, and telling the plaintiff Parham that she was going to make it worse. Plaintiffs believe the remote assault was to punish Plaintiff Parham for the IUD failure. It goes on. It says, plaintiff heard defendant KK remark to defendants Diddy and Druski that she needed to keep them sufficiently deed and revealed a bag full of D's and paraphernalia. Defendant KK appeared to be distributing doses to the defendants, asking them about their weights to administer the proper amount. At some point, plaintiff John Doe was taken to the bathroom. While in the bathroom, he believed there may have been other tenants and began to bang on the walls, hoping that someone would hear him. But the only person who heard him was defendants Valdez and Gonzalez, who was outside keeping watch. Upon plaintiff John Doe's return, he saw defendant Odell. It says that the plaintiff John Doe immediately took notice of defendant Odell because when he took his clothes off, the plaintiff remembers defendant being in great shape, especially in comparison to the naked bodies of Diddy and Druski. It said the plaintiff John Doe overheard defendant Diddy and Odell discussing business and the plan to have plaintiff return to New York with defendant Odell. Plaintiff John Doe could not readily observe where plaintiff Jane Doe was at this time. While during this time, plaintiff Jane Doe was out of sight. Plaintiff Jane Doe was being sexually assaulted by defendant Valdez in another room. It says plaintiff John Doe witnessed the gang R word of plaintiff Parham. Plaintiff Jane Doe witnessed the GR of plaintiff Parham. Plaintiff John Doe witnessed defendant Druski douse plaintiff Parham in baby oil and then jumped and slid across her body. It says that plaintiff John Doe observed defendants Diddy and Druski maniacally and hysterically laughing, which plaintiff attributed to their D use. It says defendant Diddy then attempted to force plaintiff John Doe to also assault plaintiff Parham, and he refused. It says the defendant Diddy instructed defendant co-conspirators to throw plaintiff John Doe into the wall several times in order to get him to comply with his demand to R-word plaintiff Parham, which he would not comply. Defendant Diddy instructed defendant co-conspirators to yank, grab, and pull at the plaintiff John Doe's beefcake violently in an effort to punish him for not participating in the GR word of plaintiff Parham. Plaintiff John Doe remembers. Again, I gotta say this, man. Man, listen, bro. You guys, Ariel Mitchell Kidd and that other lawyer, and these people brought it. Boy, I'm telling you right now. They in it now. They wanted to be in it. They in it now. They in it now. I'm telling y'all this. And then we on page 41. It says, at plaintiff John Doe's beefcake violently in effort to punish him for not participating in the GR of plaintiff Parham. Plaintiff John Doe remembers defendant Big Homie CC saying he was going to look for pliers to use to further torture the plaintiff. Come on, man. It says plaintiff John Doe believes defendant Diddy wanted the plaintiff to R-word plaintiff Parham so they could frame him in the event Plaintiff Parham reported her assault. It says, in an effort to get DNA from Plaintiff John Doe to place on Plaintiff Parham, defendant Diddy had one of the defendant co-conspirators orally copulate Plaintiff John Doe to get milk from him, right? But it failed. And when I say milk, y'all know what type of milk I'm saying. It said Plaintiff Jane Doe observed defendant KK return to the room to check on Plaintiff Parham and providing her an IV for telling her to breathe deeply. Plaintiff John Doe watched Plaintiff Parham lose consciousness. At some point, Plaintiff Jane Doe returns after defendants Diddy, Shane, Druski, and Odell, KK, and others to leave the home and retire to either the backyard or the upstairs patio. Plaintiffs were left alone and unattended with an unconscious Plaintiff Parham. Man, this is, man, like I said before, man. Bro, this is crazy, man. It goes on to talk about Diddy's sons right here. It says, plaintiffs observed others outside believed to be defendant Diddy's sons, Christian and Quincy. Plaintiffs observed them from roughhousing and practicing layup basketball moves. It said plaintiffs heard defendant Diddy tell his sons to watch the gate and make sure no one left. It said a plaintiff observed defendant Gonzalez outside the front door, where the front door was barricaded by yellow crime scene like tape. The door lock was unusual because it was facing backwards, needing the key to exit. Let's just keep scrolling through this, bro. I'm on page 42, man. This is crazy. Why do they keep talking about Michael Jackson in this lawsuit? It said the plaintiff believed the documents were related to creditor claims plaintiff had against Michael Jackson's estate. I don't understand any of that. It says during the interactions, party hears a shot, which causes everyone to run towards the backyard where the shot came from. It said plaintiff John Doe, who was left alone and unattended, was able to reach the stairs where he saw plaintiff Parham with the knife looking as if she was about to stab defendant Diddy, and he yelled out, "Do it, stab him." But he saw plaintiff Parham hesitate. It says that plaintiff John Doe observed defendant Diddy push plaintiff Parham down the bottom of the stairs, and plaintiff John Doe believes he assisted her up. Plaintiffs were briefly then reunited, and plaintiff John Doe and plaintiff Jane Doe now was their opportunity to escape. It says following plaintiff Parham, plaintiffs ran out the back gate onto the street and in the opposite direction of plaintiff Parham. Plaintiff arrived at the house next door to the residence and banged on the door and yelled for help. The wife came out and said that she and her husband couldn't help. Plaintiffs found an exchange bizarre and could not understand why they would not want help or call 911. Man, this thing is crazy, man. It just keeps going on, bro. Keeps going on. Hold on, you guys. Damn, this shit talking about Jag again. Here it go. It says 290. I'm gonna go right to 290 or 289. It says that defendant Gonzalez placed the plaintiffs in another vehicle, which was hard to see due to the darkness. It says that what does it say? It says that let me see. It says that defendant it says plaintiff Jane Doe pleaded with defendant Gonzalez to let them go and that she would not tell. In a last-ditch effort, plaintiff told defendant she overheard defendants Jaguar and Helena say they were not going to pay him and that there was not enough money for him. Unbeknownst to the plaintiffs, defendant Jaguar and Helena were in a nearby vehicle. Defendant Gonzalez exited the vehicle and went to the vehicle with defendant Jaguar and Helena and confronted them about what plaintiff Jane Doe had said. Defendant Gonzalez returned to the vehicle where plaintiffs were being held, seemingly confirming what plaintiff Jane Doe said because plaintiffs heard him use the Spanish term mayate, which is often used as a slur towards black folks. It says defendant Gonzalez then walked plaintiffs to a nearby street where the SUV was parked and gave the plaintiff the keys to the vehicle and released them. Man, bro. Says first cause of action, violation of 18 USC Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, plaintiff against all defendants. They trying to write this shit up like this shit is a they trying to write this up like this is a some type of indictment. That's what it seems like they trying to put this on these people. Again, as I told you guys, and I'm looking at this thing right now, bro, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. It's one thing when you have allegations, another thing you gotta prove it. You know what I'm saying? And so I truly believe that all the people that have been included in this, you know, they should all have a chance to give their side of the story. If somebody says something about you, you should have a chance to be able to say your side of the story. I truly believe that, man. Because to see all of this now, you know, let me keep going. Hold on, you guys. They're trying to put this together like this is like you can see that they're putting all types of different like code words and stuff in this lawsuit. They're writing this thing up like this is some type of indictment. You guys can see how they're writing it right here, man. They're calling racketeering activity and stuff. They're trying to say all of these things. Again, we're on page 49 of 87, y'all. What? So it says defendants knowingly benefited from Diddy's sexual abuse and cover-up enterprise as they retain employment benefits and other monetary benefits. Specifically, defendant Shane mysteriously had a brand new car upon information and belief provided to him by defendant Diddy and thanks and appreciation for facilitating the sexual assault on the plaintiff. Defendants Pelleter, Valdez, Jaguar, and Helena received and handled cash on behalf of the enterprise. They're trying to put Jaguar in the enterprise. Defendants Odell and Druski received benefits related to their celebrity, specifically defendant Druski, who had a TV show on the Revolt TV network. So it doesn't say what they did for Odell Beckham Jr., but they're trying to say for Druski, they're trying to say they gave Druski his own TV show. It says defendants willfully ignored the dangers of Diddy's conduct and pattern of harassment, sexual assault, abuse, misconduct solely for their own personal economic benefit. Right? It says plaintiff reports to the police were ignored. Others who complained about Diddy's egregious behavior were ignored until Cassie Ventura sued defendant Diddy. Right? It says, since Mrs. Ventura's bravery, countless individuals have come forward and filed complaints regarding sexual abuse at the hands of defendant Diddy. It says, the course of victims and evidence obtained by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York ultimately led to Diddy being indicted for RICO violations of sex trafficking, among other charges. It says the Diddy sexual abuse and cover-up enterprise and its members protected defendant Diddy, therefore allowing defendant Diddy to continue with sordid and egregious sexual abuse practices intimidated witnesses and victims from reporting defendant Diddy's crimes, and interfered with investigations concerning his abuse. They're trying to say that the show, and they put the show right here at the bottom, y'all. They're saying the name of the show is Sneaking In with Druski, announced by defendant Diddy in 2021. So this person is alleging that because they're saying that because Druski went along allegedly, they're alleging that Druski went along with this situation with Diddy, that Diddy gave him a TV show called Sneaking In with Druski, and it was announced by Diddy in 2021. That's what they're saying. And right here, you see that I outlined it at the bottom of page 51. Right? Let me see what else it says, bro. This is crazy, man. It says plaintiffs have been injured in their person by reason of these RICO violations. It says by reason and as a result of defendant's conduct and furtherance of the Diddy abuse enterprise and resulting RICO violations, the plaintiffs have been injured in their person as detailed above. The plaintiffs have suffered direct and severe damage to their professional and personal well-being as a result of the assault and harassment perpetuated by and allowed by defendants. It says defendant Diddy's assault and defendants' RICO violations have caused plaintiffs to suffer from emotional distress, including developing an eating disorder, extreme weight loss, causing several hospitalizations, as well as extensive need for therapy. Man, bro. Man, this thing goes on. It's got 30 more pages to this thing. God, oh, the hell? It says second cause of action, violation of Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, Conspiracy 18, USC. Let me see what else it's saying out here. Hold on, you guys. Third case of action, sexual battery. And this name's, damn, it says plaintiffs against defendants Diddy, Shane, Odell, Druski, and Valdez. Number 351 says defendants committed acts with the intent to cause a harmful or offensive contact with an intimate part of plaintiff. The sexually offensive and unwanted contact with the plaintiff directly resulted from defendants' said acts. It says the defendant Diddy exploited his position of authority to intimidate, overwhelm, and subdue plaintiffs with the assistance of defendant Shane, KK, Odell, Brandy, and Druski. Objections to this conduct will be met with retaliation. So, this is crazy, man. It says right here at 356, defendants Diddy, Shane, Odell, and Druski's battery on plaintiff caused physical injury, severe mental and emotional distress, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and loss of enjoyment of life. Damn, they putting that on Odell and on Druski too? Damn. Boy, you know they lawyers gonna be going crazy tonight. I know they lawyers gonna be going crazy about this. Their lawyers are gonna be going crazy about this, man. It says fifth cause of actual sexual harassment. Plaintiff Perham against defendants Diddy, Shane, Odell, and Druski. So 6 calls action of battery against all the defendants. It says right here, 377 defendants intended to commit and committed acts of unwanted contact with the plaintiffs. Defendants Diddy, Shane, Odell, and Druski committed unwanted contact with plaintiff Parham in a harmful and offensive manner, including but not limited to by inflicting sexual abuse against the plaintiff. Oh, man. It says 380. It says defendants Pelleter, Gonzalez, Valdez, Helena, and Jaguar committed unwanted contact with plaintiff Does in a harmful and offensive manner, including but not limited to inflicting severe physical abuse against the plaintiff. They're trying to accuse Jaguar of severe physical abuse against these this Jane Doe or John Doe. This, I think it was what they said, mother and a son. This is crazy, bro. I ain't never seen nothing like this ever before in my life, man. It's crazy, bro. I've never seen anything like this, bro. It says 7th cause of action, assault. Damn. What the fuck? It says 9th cause of action, negligent failure to warn. Plaintiffs against defendants Shane, KK, Pelleter, Gonzalez, Valdez, Odell, Druski, Jaguar, Helena, Brandy, and the Does. It says that the defendant's conduct created a risk of physical or emotional harm to the plaintiffs. Defendants knew and had reason to know that the plaintiffs Parham and John Doe were at risk of sexual assault and abuse by defendant Diddy. It goes on to say that despite the knowledge of the danger and participation in the Diddy sexual abuse and cover-up enterprise, defendants did not alert plaintiffs of the risk of sexual assault, harassment, kidnapping, physical assault, all wording or other attacks by defendant Diddy. In fact, defendants facilitated and assisted defendant Diddy in his illegal, deviant activities and despicable behavior. This is crazy, bro. We're only on page 63, y'all. I gotta get through this, man. That one is against Diddy. It talks about Druski and them again, Odell and them again. It says that defendant Diddy, 413 says defendant Diddy knew or should have known that defendants Odell and Druski had previously engaged and was continuing to engage in unlawful sexual conduct for his own personal sexual gratification. It says defendant Diddy knew or should have known that it was foreseeable that defendants Odell and Druski was engaging or would engage in illicit sexual activities with the plaintiff under the cloak of the authority, confidence and trust bestowed upon him through defendant Diddy. This is crazy. It says at no time during the alleged period did defendant Diddy have in place a reasonable system or procedure to investigate, supervise, or monitor defendants Odell and Druski to prevent sexual and verbal abuse, sexual assault, nor did he implement a system or procedure to oversee or monitor conduct towards individuals they encountered. It says defendant Diddy conspired to and did breach his duties of care owed to the plaintiff, including by turning a blind eye and encouraging known abuses by defendants Odell and Druski in the known dangerous conditions of Diddy sexual enterprise, and by continuing to expose individuals like plaintiffs Parham and John Doe to these dangers for decades. Even though defendant Diddy knew or should have known of these sexually illicit activities by himself, and defendants Odell and Druski, he failed to use reasonable care in supervising defendants Odell and Druski and did nothing to reasonably investigate, supervise, or monitor defendants Odell and Druski to ensure the safety of the individuals they encountered. Defendant Diddy, negligence in supervising and or retaining defendants Odell and Druski was a substantial factor in causing harm to the plaintiff. This is crazy. Man, bro. 11th action of cause, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And it goes against all of the defendants, is what she's accusing this one of. Negligence, infliction of emotional distress against all the defendants she's accusing this of. 13th cause of action, unjust enrichment. Plaintiffs against defendants Shane, KK, Pelletier, Valdez, Brandy, Druski, Helena, Odell, Big Homie, CC, Jaguar, and Doze, is what she's saying in that one. Unbelievable, man. It says defendants Pelletier, Valdez, KK, Brandy, Helena, Jaguar, and Doze received revenue in the form of cash payment for their involvement in the plaintiff Doze assault, battery, false imprisonment in his role in the Diddy sexual abuse and cover up enterprise. So they're trying to say the they're trying to say you involved in the enterprise is what this girl is accusing. And these other two Jane Does in this lawsuit. It's 3 people that's in this lawsuit that's suing. And they're alleging that Jaguar Wright received cash payments for her involvement in the assault, battery, false imprisonment, and role of the Diddy sexual abuse and cover-up enterprises. That's what they're accusing. These people that's in this lawsuit. Like I said, I advise all them people to get legal counsel. Because these type of allegations they trying to put on people, man, I'm trying to tell you, bro. It says action of aiding and abetting against all the defendants. Let me see. I'm trying to get through this, man. I'm tired as hell, man. It's at 451. It says, here plaintiffs were sexually assaulted by defendants Diddy, Shane, Odell, Druski, Valdez, and Doe at defendant Shane's residence. Plaintiff was legally on the premises as a guest and invitee of defendant Shane. Defendant Shane, through renting the premises, had dominion and control over the premises where the plaintiff was harmed. Defendant Diddy had dominion and control over the actions of defendant Shane, Odell, Druski, Doe, and failed to step in and stop them from sexually assaulting plaintiff parent. It says, as the owner of the property, defendant Shane had a duty to protect from the harm she suffered at the hands of defendants Diddy, Odell, Druski, Doe, and breached this duty when he failed to stop them from sexually assaulting a plaintiff parent. In furtherance of this breach, defendant Shane encouraged defendant Diddy, Odell, Druski, and Doe to continue their assault on the plaintiff. Plaintiff has suffered immensely because defendant Shane's intentional breach to his duty. And they're just naming all these people, man. You guys, I'm about to tap out, man. I'm tired as hell, man. They're trying to put these people in on the enterprise. They're trying to say that these people were involved in Diddy's enterprise. I'm pretty sure all these people are going to have something to say about these allegations. I'm pretty sure, man. They're including all these people and accusing all of them of sex trafficking, aiding, abetting, 16th cause of action, aiding, abetting, inducing a sex trafficking venture in violation of Trafficking Victims Protection Act. They're putting this in here too. And they're trying to put all these people in this, man. Y'all see this right here, bro. They're accusing all of these people in the enterprise, man. Like I said before, you know, they all innocent unless proven guilty in any court of law. And these are the allegations from one side. So you have not heard the other side in this situation. I'm pretty sure, you know, these other people will have something to say, but I advise them to get legal counsel before they say anything in this type of situation, man, because this person's naming all these people. These are big-time people. Odell Beckham Jr. is a big-time NFL superstar. Everybody knows Druski is an internet personality. You know what I'm saying? Big homie, he speak out against the foolishness. Jaguar, we already know she be around all the time. So again, man, like I said, man, it's all there. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm gonna tap out, man. I'm about to pass out right now. I'm so damn tired, bro. I'll holler at y'all in a little while, man. I gotta get some sleep, man. Like, share, subscribe, man. Salute to everybody that tapped in. Appreciate all y'all, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. You know what I'm saying? Again, man, hey, man, bro, only God can save us, man. And I hope and pray that none of these allegations are true against none of these people, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real talk. It's people in there that I like. You know what I mean? Hey, straight up. I ain't gonna, y'all know I ain't gonna front though, man. I had to say it, but y'all, man, I'm gone, man. I'm sorry to bother y'all this late at night, man. I'm out, man. I gotta go to sleep.
All right, you guys. So we appreciate everybody that popped in, supported this video. Make sure that you guys shop our merch. We got that new A-Weapons merchandise right there below this video. All you got to do is look below. The links will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well to get the merch, to donate, support the channel, and subscribe to our podcast show. You'll see all those links pinned at the top of the comment section of this video. And we appreciate everybody that supports this channel and our networks. Also, that straight drop weight loss formula. Go to the website. You guys will see that. A link for that will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Go right there for all of your weight loss needs. Straight drop weight loss formula. We have a lot of testimonials on the website. You can go to www.str-8-drop.com and get you some of the weight loss formula today. Take your weight loss serious. Get in the gym, work out, exercise, and do what you got to do. Stay on point. We appreciate everybody that's been locked into this video. Again, all the links are pinned at the top of the comment section below. Salute to all of y'all. And again, we appreciate everybody who support what we doing over here.